basically, what I put together is just like some of the new stuff that was announced at Ignite. A couple of things how probably like some of you folks have already seen it. And what I want to do with them, I want to just like show a couple of, demos, a couple of little things, to kind of like get you started. And then in the slides, I also have added quite a few, like resources, documentations, and some videos um, that you can actually go through and give you. I know there's a lot of people that there are more that like to read. Some other people like to like watch videos and whatnot. So there's a little bit for everybody there. A little bit of flavor. Where is my?
Will you be showing us the new UI flow thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do a live demo. I try to do something.
Awesome.
I try to do something like that at Ignite in Toronto, and for some reason, because so in order for you to work with the UI flows, you actually need to install an extension. And I was hearing from some people that it could be like a hit or miss depending. So for me in Toronto was more of a miss than a hit. So I'm gonna try to do it again since I'm on my desktop, and hopefully because it's more powerful than my laptop, we'll get it to work, so you can see like what entails, like the things that you need to do in the back end. I don't know, is there anybody here in the group that were like an IT admin before coming into SharePoint? Anybody?
We've
Yes.
got a few. Yes.
Okay. So there was like back in the days, there was this tool that I use. It's called Auto IT. So it's basically an automation. You can create scripts that you can actually like perform some clicks or some keyboard actions. And we actually used it a lot to deploy some third-party tools that we had to push to like pharmacies that we worked with. So I implemented that, and I believe the framework that tool uses, it's actually the same one the Flow UI that the UI flows use. It's just basically instead of being like local to your desktop, it's something that runs directly on your browser. So that's why it's going to require the little the little extension. I think it's Selenium, the framework that it uses to
Wow.
to do all the clicking and the recording and all that stuff. Let me get a couple of things together for that.
And so, Fausto, I know you can see our camera running, but we've got about 15 people in the room. And then it looks like we've got a good 15 people online too.
Oh, that's good. That's pretty good. Let's see. That's very nice. I think do you guys have like a monthly thing that I can sign up and like get those added to my calendar, so if I had some downtime like during those days, I can actually um just like try to join you guys at least, even if it's just like on listening mode or whatever.
Yeah, we're on Eventbrite, and we'll make sure that you get added to the list.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Or we'll at least send you the link so you can add yourself to the list.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, all right, it's about 5 till. So upcoming events, normally we have a slide. Last month we didn't have a slide because I was just here and Sharon wasn't. This month Sharon's also not here, so I didn't make a slide. Don't tell her.
Ooh.
Oh wait, she's online. She can hear me.
Yes, the line.
You're in trouble.
Upcoming events next month we have this user group again. Second Monday of the month. I think it's the 10th, maybe next month. Coming up around the country and regionally, we have SP Tech Con in San Francisco sometime next month, the week of the 17th, I think. Branson is like April Fool's Day. It's not an April Fool's joke. It's just scheduled then. SharePoint conference is coming up in May. If you're planning on buying a ticket and you don't already have a speaker code to use, please use Moore, M-O-O-R-E. That's John Moore. He's the one who's setting up our camera this month. And next month we'll have more cool techie stuff. And he's working on getting us set up so that we can be like the coolest Office user group in the United States or in the country, you know, but we don't want to think too broad yet.
What the heck?
Dude, you don't have John Moore.
Yeah, but
I'm sure you could rent him though for a price.
geez, I mean, I run a user group, but thanks, dude.
Yeah, and you're on our user group right now, so and I have the microphone. And I have the mute all button, Stacy. So there's also a user group in Cincinnati that Stacy runs.
Yeah.
When is it, Stacy?
Fourth Thursday of every month. And it is all remote, so you can kick back at home with a glass of wine or a beer and sit there and get geeky.
All right. And Nate runs the Lawrence user group, which is last week. Okay. Cool. Anything else that you guys know of that we need to announce?
The one thing
Yes.
is the SharePoint Fest DC is coming up. It's after SP TechCon, but just FYI.
Right. I didn't get accepted to speak at that one, so I don't know. It's not on my calendar.
Sorry.
Ooh, yeah, I will get salty like that. You didn't have me. You didn't like select me. Not in my calendar. There was this event that there is this event that I wanted to go to in Glasgow in the UK, but some of my friends are going somewhere now, but I'm going to the UK at the beginning of February, so I really wanted to go to the second one, but you know, it is what it is.
Right. All right. So today we're talking about Power Automate, which is the rebranded version of Flow. It has more stuff in it now. So I've asked Fausto Capellan to present. Fausto's an MVP and a Microsoft MVP on the business applications, and he works with Power Apps 911. And if you haven't checked them out yet, that's a great resource. Between all of the consultants at Power Apps 911, they have live streams and YouTube channels and blog posts and amazing resources. Also, I'm not supposed to tell you that he's bald, but he did say you'll figure it out when you see his picture. So there's that. We love you, Fausto.
Yeah, we love you too, bro. I know
Yeah.
it was funny because you were asking me this morning. Oh yeah, I can say this and this and that, but what I was gonna tell them, like, don't tell them that I'm bald. They'll be able to figure it out once I get on the camera and stuff. So
yeah. So again, don't tell Fausto that I told you that. So Fausto, I'm going to go ahead and hit the mute button so that you don't get, just all the random noise, but I'll unmute when we have questions.
Yep, that's
Cool.
fine.
All right. And you might, if you see us waving in the camera or something, that means that I'm running up here to hit unmute.
Yep, that's fine.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
I'll let you take it away.
All right. Let me set up everything. I'm gonna need to make sure that you are seeing my screen. And where's my Teams? Let me know if you folks can see the slides. You
We
cannot.
can see your slide.
Oh, you can see. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so just making sure where is. Actually, I'm not gonna use my presenter. I'm just gonna use my keyboard in the meantime. All right. So let me see. What time is it? 1 o'clock. Let me know when you folks are ready. I can get started talking about um, Power Power Automate.
It's all yours. Go right ahead.
All right, awesome. Well, hello everybody. As Jonathan mentioned before, my name is Fausto Capellan Jr. This is my first time presenting remotely live. So thank you for the opportunity, Jonathan, and the user group. So what I'm gonna be talking about, I'm going to assume that a lot of us that a lot of you folks are already familiar with the tool. So basically, we're just gonna go over, some of the things about, the name change of the tool within a Power Platform, and also gonna go over some of the new things that were announced during Ignite, which I'm also going to assume some of you got a wind of what was introduced, and then so I'm just gonna go over a little bit of details, also kind of like show you some of the things that you can do with it. I'm gonna try to run a couple of live demos. And since I'm not on Wi-Fi, hopefully the demo guides will be good to me. So I'm gonna try to build a couple of things live. If they don't work out, I have a couple of backups that I can actually go over. So without further ado, let me let me give you a little intro about myself. As Jonathan mentioned before, I work as a consultant for a company called Power Apps 911. So anybody familiar with Shane Young and those folks, I actually work with them. So we do a lot of basically everything revolves around the Power Platform. We do a lot of Power Apps, a lot of Power Automate, and also we get our fair share of working with Power BI. So my main focus is it's basically just Power Apps and Flow. I'm the in-house Flow expert or Power Automate expert. So don't be confused if you hear me fumble in between Power Automate and Flow. So I'm still getting used to the whole name change. I'm also been an MVP in business application for about a year. I started doing most of my work around that, by going into the Power Automate forums and trying to help people see like what they were trying to do, questions they had, things they wanted to solve, and basically that's the way that I that I learned to work with the tool. I am also a Power Platform advocate. Even though I know there's still a lot of confusions about some changes and whatnot, which I'm not going to go into details. But the platform it's really powerful. Um, Pardon the redundancy there, but there's a lot of stuff that are available for basically like citizen developers and also like pro devs alike. So you can go from having someone in your accounting team, developing an app or automating some of the process they have, um, you know, something just to solve a business problem, something to where they can capture some information through an app or just like automate some daily, like mundane tasks that that might take in like an hour or two on a daily basis. They can do that. So this platform is more geared to to those folks, like business users, but it's also available to pro devs just in case they want to expand on what the business users are doing, or they want to do a little bit more of something complex for the organization. Also, my main background has been SharePoint for close to 10 years now. Started working on it as an admin, and from an admin moved up to developer since I was the only SharePoint person on my last job. So I'm pretty well versed on both ends. Um, when it comes to the Flow community, I try to be as active as I can. Sometimes, during downtime, I just go over there, as I mentioned at the beginning, just trying to help people with questions or issues that they're facing. And also I try to do a little blogging every now and then, just to basically just doing kind of like how to, so people can actually either try to do exactly what I'm doing, or kind of like give them an idea of anything that they're trying to implement on their end. All right, so what I'm gonna be covering today. So I'm gonna be talking about um, the name change, how we went from Flow to Power Automate. I'm also gonna be talking about the AI Builder, which is still in preview. I'm also gonna talk about the UI flows, which is basically the robotics process automation. I'm also gonna give you a quick overview of Power Virtual Agents. I'm also gonna talk about some of the new SharePoint connector actions. So a few things that were added during the summer, and also some the community updates, some stuff that some of the community people, or people from the Power Automate team, they actually have like some nice posts on the blog site about some of the things that they've been doing lately. And also just gonna point out a quick setting that they introduced recently, that it's called experimental features, where you can actually get a couple of things um, kind of like going. And that and some of the community updates, I'm gonna be that one of the community updates actually requires the experimental features to be set up. All right. Okay, so Power Automate, it's an automation tool, cloud-based, from Microsoft, and it was introduced at the end of 20, like mid end of 2016. So it basically started as in preview, and it didn't have as many connectors as it does have today. Recently, Microsoft changed the name to Power Automate to actually make it more in line with the Power Platform, with the tool, with the tools that it's comprised of, such as Power BI, which is used, to process some business analytics. Power Apps, which was actually renamed from a single word to two words. Now it's Power Apps, no Power Apps altogether. Which, as most of you folks know, is actually used to do application development. And coming from the SharePoint world, you can actually use it to customize your forms, kind of like similar to the way that we used to do it back in the day with InfoPath. And it also Power Automate, which is just work automation. Another tool that was introduced, the Microsoft Ignite, and I believe it's still running in preview. You can actually now add some intelligent automation uh, to Power Automate by using the AI Builder, which I'm gonna give a quick overview and actually show a demo that I built for the MS Ignite in Toronto last week. All right, so the new Power Platform capability, the AI Builder is a new capability that that helps um, improve business performance by automating processes and predicting outcomes. So you can have, so these are the AI Builder basically requires no code. So anybody can do it, from my kids, which are just like video game, like just gamers and whatnot, to anybody that's already a pro dev. The AI Builder also offers several different scenarios for industries, and it includes like AI for multiple like industry verticals. All right, so the AI Builder includes like several models that you can actually use out of the box. It has some for processing. So if you get a lot of invoices on a daily basis, and you can, so for example, let's say that you get several different invoices from different vendors, and even though they might have like different layouts, but they usually have like one field that's common across the board, you can actually build your model and train it against those documents. So it usually requires a minimum of 5 documents in order for you to start training. And depending on what you feed in it, it could take from a few minutes, but it doesn't take more than 30 minutes to an hour. Uh, you can also use the object detection model. So this is like when you take images and you can actually have it like recognize different things within the image, or you can actually count all the things within it. So one of the demos that we got at the MVP summit last year was like someone that goes to the, like different stores, let's say to like supermarkets and whatnot, and they're stocking up sodas. I'm not gonna talk about name brands and whatnot. And with the using the object detection within an app, they can actually take a picture, and then the picture can actually go over all the items that the model has been trained for, and it can pick up exactly what let's say that they're using, they're looking to see how much 7 Up there is in there, and they only run like a few bottles short. It actually picks up the specific object you're looking for, and it actually gives you like a count of what you have, so that way you're aware of what you need to replenish it with the next time. It also some predictions. I haven't worked with that personally, and it also gives you some text classification, so you can see, so it can analyze a lot of the text that you can feed it as well. There's a couple other things that can get you started like right out of the box. There's a business card reader model. There's a key phrase extraction. You also have a language detection model. You have another one that I've seen a lot of people use for sentiment analysis. Like if you want to see something positive, something negative, so it gives you a percentage. Over 50, I believe, is positive, or over 60, and then anything lower, it's negative. And also you have your text recognizer, which actually, it can actually process text directly from images. All right, so I'm gonna back out from my presentation, and let me pull up my demo. Let me know if you can all see the browser screen that I just dragged over to the other side. You can actually nod. I zoomed in. We're good. You can see it. Okay, good, good. All right, thumbs up. It's good. Thank you. Okay. So one quick thing to go over to mention about the AI builder, right? So with the AI builder, I'm gonna zoom in this a little bit because I'm on a gigantic monitor. Just give me a second so you can have a better view of what I'm doing. All right, 175%. So hopefully you can see my all the text over there. So the first thing to get you started with the AI builder, right? So you can do it directly from the Power Automate site. So when you go into the AI builder, which is listed here on your left hand side, what it's gonna do, it's basically gonna show you the same images that I showed before. So you can actually get set up a trial. I think I did the premium one, so I can show some of the stuff. But you can see that you can actually get started from here using some of those. You can see some models, like once you build them, they're gonna be listed here. So one quick thing about getting started with the AI builder. So AI builders, they actually work within solutions. All right. And what does that entail? So in order for you to use a solution within the Power Platform, for within Power Apps or Power Automate, is that the environment where you're going to be running these solutions, it needs to have a common data service database created, a CDS database. Without the database, it's going to give you, let me try to switch over to one of my other environments. And let me go to solutions. So you can see what they are. Okay, so that means that whenever you get a message like this, it usually indicates that you don't have a database created on that environment. And one way to look at the at which environment has a database created, you can go, as you can see, I went to the gear icon here, went to the admin center, and then within the admin center, once you select your environment, so you can see that this one specifically doesn't have a database. This one does. You can see it doesn't give you the option to create a new database. So that's like something to keep in mind. So first, you need to have a CDS database, and then you can start working on the AI builder. So let me bring you back to my environment where I have my solution. All right, so the first thing you want to do is like you want to create.
Hey, Fausto.
Yes,
Sorry
sir.
to interrupt. Can you zoom in just a little bit more?
A little bit more? Sure.
Is that good? Yeah, that's great. Thank
That's
you.
great. Okay,
Yep.
good. All right, so we are at 250. Okay. All right, so you can see that I have a list of solutions that I have built before. Some solutions come like straight out of the box. In order for you to create a solution, of course, you can go to new solution and you can give it a display name. You can give it a name. You can give it the publisher, which normally I just use the default one. And when you're setting up the version, I believe whenever you're setting up a number, it needs to have the main integer, is 1 point, followed by 0, 1, or whatever you want to call it, right? But to save some time, I already had set up this one for Toronto last week. And so when I created my model, let me go and try to create one pretty really quick. So when you go and click on build a model, you actually want to tell it like exactly what you want to do. So what I did was I'm gonna do the form processing. So let's call it KC. And you can see that it's actually gonna require 5 or more documents with the same or similar layout that has, like the similar information that you want to pull straight out of there. So when you click on create, it'll take about a minute. So two things that you can do while you're here, right? So you can either add your own documents. You can see it from the button here. Or if you don't have anything, let's say that you just want to practice whatever, you can go to get sample documents. And what Microsoft does, it gives you, there's the AI Builder Lab. I believe you download all the forms from here. It gives you like several PDFs that then you can actually come back and feed it. And then once it goes through it, it'll pick up everything. So let me see if I can do this one really quick. So let me pull up all my expenses from last year. I know this one, I think some of this, they're gonna have like similar information. So I'm uploading 6 documents. And what it's gonna do is just gonna scan like pretty much like every single one of them. And once it gets to the end, it's gonna come, you're gonna have it, have the model analyze all the documents, and it's gonna take a few minutes. And like I said, and what it's gonna do is gonna find similar fields within the PDF that you feed it. Let me see if for me, I think it's gonna bring up total, which is the one that you can find more commonly across the the model that I built before. Okay, so what that's going on, let me pull up the actual model that I did, and we'll just keep an eye as it analyzes it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna pull up the one that I had created before. And you can see that basically some of the things that I found. So I decided to use just the amount the amount field that I was, that the model was able to find across all the receipts that I fed it. Okay, so it looks like it finished. So I'm just gonna pull it up, and then you can see that it's gonna start loading all the fields that it found to be similar across all the documents. So you can see that it was able to pick up a name, which is server. It picked up. I don't even know why it identifies this as a date of birth, but you can see that it picks up the dates. It picked up my name that was used on the cards, the entry method, approval, and the amount. And this was actually pretty good because I know some folks they have actually tried to have the model like recognize some like some handwritten info, but they haven't gotten lucky. But you can see that we're able to pick this up. So going back to my model, we actually use the amount field, and then once I have my model all set up, then I can actually come and either create a flow, which are actually still flow within Power Automate, or I can actually use the model directly in Power Apps. All right. And so once you have everything in place and you have everything set up, in order for either the flow that you want to use the model in or the Power Apps you want to use the model in, they actually have to be within the solution. Outside the solution, then they're not going to work. All right. So what I did was once I was in my solution, I can come in and I can either create an app or I can create a flow directly here. And for the flow, since I already created one, I'm gonna pull it up. I call it AI invoice amount processing. Going to edit. So this demo was actually shown at Ignite, and because I had to present the same content at Ignite Toronto, I actually went ahead and built the same demo that Steven Siciliano built for the for Ignite back in November. So the flow that I have over here, what it actually does, that I'm using the when a new email arrives trigger. And basically what I'm looking for, I'm checking, I need to make sure. So normally this is like hidden. So what I'm doing is, within the advanced option, I have the trigger check that it has, to make sure that it has attachments. And if it has attachments, just to make sure that also includes it. And what am I looking for when I receive an email? I want to put a subject filter. So basically, I just want the flow to pick up anything that has amount within the subject, right? And because I might receive multiple attachments. Once you go ahead and select the attachments flow, it's what it's gonna do. It's gonna wrap up anything that it considers an array. It's gonna wrap it up immediately in an apply to each. So if you're working with some dynamic content, just so to give you a quick heads up, and you select something from here, right? And you can see. So for example, let's say that I wanna. Let me show you what I mean. So let me look up the predict action that I'm using in there. So I have my action there. So I'm gonna pick up my model. So I'm doing the invoice processor, and then what I want to scan. Actually, no, that's the wrong one. Let me use a different action so you can see what I mean when flow adds the automatic apply to each. So let's do our compose really quick. And within the compose, like I basically just want to select the attachments, right? So what is attachments going to give me? Because it is attachments, flow considers is even if you're only getting one, flow is still considered as it's still considered an array. So once you select it, it will let me see attachments name. So if I selected attachments name, you can see that it actually wrapped up the attachments name within the array. So the array is actually here attachments, and then any other properties within attachments such as the content type, the name and things like that. It's gonna put it like in its own apply to each loop over here. All right. backing away from that. So I have my attachment set up, and here what I'm doing is that I'm building. I can make all this stuff available for you folks afterwards. Because this is actually, you have to do a little bit of manual work, except for here. So for this one, for the MIME type, you can actually select the content type, which is available here. But for this stuff, we actually have to take the content bytes of the attachments and convert it to a string, so it's able to pick it up and send the information for that receipt wherever we need to send it, right? And then within the flow, the next thing that I want to do is that I want to set up, I want to create an approval. So with this one, because I'm using, I believe these two actions over here, the custom responses, that if you normally you get the approve or reject first to respond and everyone must approve, they come out of the box. I believe the custom responses that will put you in the premium spectrum, all right? And licensing and everything, that's you can basically spend like 2 days just talking about it and you're never gonna hear like the end of it. But just a quick thing, I believe these two are gonna put you in the premium spectrum if you decide to use those. So that's one of the things that you need to be careful when it comes to licensing. So here I selected my custom responses. So I have response 1 or response 2, just like looks good, or double check them out. The title of the approval and who is assigned to. And once the approval is set up, what I'm actually having is that I'm having the Flowbot post that adapted card from that approval directly into Teams. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get an email from the approval, but at the same time, if let's say that I'm not running my Outlook or anything, and I have quicker access to my Teams, I can actually see the adapted card directly in Teams and go ahead and I either approve or reject that. And then I have,
Hey, Fausto.
Yes, sir.
Your screen froze.
Did it?
If you're clicking on things, we can't see them. We see attachments and compose.
Oh, okay. Let me back out of that. Let me refresh.
Oh, yeah, it looks like your video froze too.
Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen and let me share it again. Hold on. Yeah, I see my face frozen over here.
Yeah, you've been looking down to the right for a while.
Yeah, I'm looking at my nice window there behind me. Let me try to share the screen, see if you can see again. What do you see now on the screen? Nothing still, or
just your initials?
Just my initials? Oh, that's weird. Let me turn off the camera. Let me stop sharing. Hold on. I think my Team's a little frozen because now I cannot unshare the screen. Can move the screen around, but I can't do anything. Can minimize or anything. Let me see.
These are the joys of remote sessions.
Exactly. Is my screen still showing or just my initials?
Just your initials still.
Okay, let me try.
It's also why a lot of the online conferences require you to pre-record your session.
Yeah. Should I no, let me do anything.
Does anyone have a portable teleporter? Well, because if you have it here, we would need to get it to there. Then you should have brought the portable one with you.
No, Jonathan, I think the problem is on my end because I see you all frozen and it won't let me click on any of the any of the controls.
I didn't figure that would help, but. Do you need to rejoin the meeting, like exit the meeting and rejoin? We'll call this an intermission. If anyone wants, is there a piece of pizza left? There's some drinks left. We did not run out of cups this month. All right, there's 3 pieces of pizza left. First come, first serve.
Are we back?
Ooh, we see your video.
Yeah, it
You're
told
moving.
me like it kind of like started there for a minute, and then it told me, oh, there was a glitch, and it just like restarted on its own. So, my apologies, folks. I can see everybody now moving. Can you all see me now?
Yep, we can see you.
Yeah, I think I see my hand on the little monitor there on the lower right. So, hey. All right, my apologies about that. So let me bring up, let me pick up what we left off before. We're going to share screen number 2.
All right, we see your screen.
So you see the AI invoice amount processing, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where did I? What was the last thing that you folks saw on your end? Was just like the compose part?
We saw, yeah, you had started the compose.
Okay. So that was like kind of like a little thing that I was showing about the automatic apply to each. But now let me just point out really quick. So since I want to do some prediction, right? So this is all like we had to do this manually. So one of the only dynamic content that you can select is the content type, which is available down here. But then for the other part, we actually had to build an expression to convert the content bytes over to strings. Like I said, I can export this solution and make it available for you folks to download it later, and kind of like set up your own like import it so you can analyze it and then like play around with it and build your AI models based on that. So I'm also setting up an approval using some custom responses. And once that approval is complete, what I'm actually doing is actually setting up the same approval card, the adaptive card directly into my team. So just in the event I'm not looking at Outlook, I can actually just do it directly from there, and then I can actually wait for the approval to happen. So I think I had a test already done. Let me try to trigger that same test. Where did it go? Let me edit. Trigger the test. Gonna use stuff from before. Can you still see my screen? Yep, good. Okay. So got it. All right, so let me pull up my Outlook. No, so let me go into Teams. So can you all see my my team screen? Thumbs up. Teams, okay. All right, so what you can see, so once I sent the email to myself, you can actually see it that it shows up here on Teams as a data card, as an adaptive card, that I can actually just either update directly from here, or I can do it directly from my Outlook. You can see that I got my new invoice amount directly there. So I can either update the approval from here, or I can just do it directly from Teams. So I'm just gonna say cool, submit. Sorry about the kid crying. That's my neighbor's kid upstairs. So I'm not spanking a child or anything, just in case. All right. So once it's done, you can see that I updated everything, and then you can see if we go back to my flow, you can see that the flow completed successfully. So everything it's there. So this is kind of like give you an idea of how you can work with the AI models. So let me continue with the presentation. So you can see the slides. Quick thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So moving on to the UI flows. So UI flows is basically what I mentioned at the beginning. It's all automation. This is all the UI flows are 100% cloud based, and they use the same low no code experience that you can get directly from Power Automate. And with the flow with the UI flows, customers can record the step-by-step UI actions, as I mentioned before, such as if you want to sign some keyboard typing or if you want to record some mouse clicking. So as a kind of like the example that I mentioned at the beginning, if you're deploying some like a piece of software or whatever, you can actually just have it click throughout, like perform all the clicking action, which, with, using the UI flows is actually, being done directly on the browser. And, like the UI flows allows organizations to, basically just automate in a single platform across apps and services. You can customize, build, and manage UI flow scripts in a secure cloud environment. You can also leverage the local with step-by-step record and playback experience, and it seamlessly integrate UI automation with API-based automation by combining UI flows with the regular flows. All right, so let me see if we can do a quick demo on that before we move to the next one. So let me back up to my flows. So what do you do with UI flow? So once you into your Power Automate site, you can either go directly, you can go to my flows, and then once you go to UI flows, everything is going to be in preview. So anything that you see in preview, take it with a grain of salt and do not implement anything that's production. Don't use anything that's preview for production stuff, because a lot of stuff it's gonna be changing along the way until it goes into GA. So just be mindful when you're working with anything that's in preview. So once you come here to the UI flows preview, you can click on create a new a UI flow, and you can select if you want to target anything on the desktop or on the web. So I'm gonna do web. So let's see if this is gonna work. So let's call this one KCO, and let's use the Bing URL as an example, even though there's nothing there. Let's see what it does here. So this one. So once you click on launch recorder, so it's gonna tell you. So once you try, it's gonna tell you that the UI flows browser extension is not there. So you can actually download it. Let's see how quick it runs. I'm just gonna put this on downloads. I'm installing the extension now. I think it'll take a minute. So you can see that it gives you some options there that you can opt in or opt out. I'm gonna install. So I'm gonna try to run through this demo. But if we don't have time enough to do something live with it, I included some links in the at the end of the slides, like for resources, where you can actually see some of the stuff that John Levesque has put together in YouTube, along with other people from the community. So you can kind of like have a better idea. But I know it's gonna take a little bit because you had to set up the extension, and most likely it's gonna. Not sure if it's gonna push me to restart the browser, which I don't want to. So let's try again. Web app. Gonna do this. KCO. Launch recorder. Yeah, it's gonna ask me again. So I don't wanna. I wanna save some time to go over the other stuff because I know we had like about 10, 15 minutes to go. So like I said, at the end of the slides, there's gonna be a couple of like links to videos from John Levesque and a couple of the folks from the community that can actually like walk you through. So just make sure you take your time. You go over it when you set it up and just play around with it. Just remember, anything that you see in preview, do not use it for anything that you have in production. So the other thing that was introduced at Ignite back in November was the Power Virtual Agents. I believe they're actually derived from a tool they previously had in Dynamics 365. And what you can do with the virtual agents is you can actually empower organizations to easily create powerful bots using a guided no-code graphical interface without the need for data scientists or developers. So basically the same approach that Microsoft has been taking for the Power Platform, basically gearing the platform towards citizen developers, like business users, so they can get a lot of the stuff done without having to require so much like IT permission, or you have to be depending on developers or something, or have to work on something that might take you like many months to get created. So what are some of the things that you can do with Power Virtual Agents? You can empower your teams by allowing them to easily build bots themselves without needing intermediaries or coding or any AI expertise. You can actually reduce costs by easily automating common inquiries and freeing human agent, to deal with more complex issues. And you can also improve customer satisfaction by allowing customers to self-help and resolve issues quickly 24/7 using rich, personalized bot conversations. One example, as I go through the slides, one sample, I had ordered some sneakers that I'm actually collecting, and when I went to check the tracking number in UPS like immediately it gave me like a virtual agent that I can actually interact with. So you can have an idea some of the stuff that some of the companies that are implementing something similar in their processes. All right, so some of the highlights about Power Virtual Agents. You can get started within seconds. It's actually fairly quick for you to get it going. I know it originally is going to sign up. Have you signed up with your account with your Office 365? It takes that takes a couple of minutes just to get it going, and once it picks up your account and everything, and you logged in with your Office 365 email and password, it's going to ask you if you want to create a bot. So basically everything happens, like extremely fast. You can actually take any subject matter expert within your company, and you can actually empower them by giving them access to this tool. You can also enable some rich natural conversations. So you can actually come and you can set up some topics. So you can give your bot some of the triggers. So for example, like some of the salutation that it's expecting from people. You can actually do a couple of things. You can actually customize your greeting. You can add topics. Customize some of the topics that you also have in there. And as you go, as you have your bot working, you can actually have it take a different action based on the conversation that the user is having with the bot. And another thing that you can do directly from the Power Virtual Agents, you can actually monitor and you improve your bot performance. So you're gonna get this nice Power BI dashboard where you can actually see like all the sessions, engagement rate, resolution rate, and escalation rate. So some of the things that you can, based on these analytics, you can actually go and make some modifications to your Power Virtual Agent. quick. I think I have it set up over here. So let me zoom this one in as well. Okay, 250%. So you can see that I created a test bot earlier. You can actually, it's listed down here at the bottom, so you can either hide the bot or you can display your bot. So you can see you can actually play with it here. So let me reset some of the stuff. You can go here to view your bot. To view your bots, you can actually create a new one. Let's see if we can do the KCO name that I'm using. So you can select your environment if you want to have it on specific ones. And like I said, this takes just like basically a couple of minutes to get everything set up. And how do you access the Power Virtual Agent? You can go to powerva.microsoft.com. So you can see as I was telling you everything, you can see that I was able to create a bot. So if I want to track between topics, I can get it started by saying hello. And you can see that it's going to start answering. And then here you can see everything that's going on with everything. So you can see your trigger phases, you can see the messages, which you can actually customize. You can see, so let me see, ask it about hours. So it'll give you details about some of the store hours and stuff. You can tell it, yes, it answered my question. You can continue from there. So you can see that everything changes in the back. As a user select, so you can keep track of everything that the flow that the bot is doing, and you can make your modifications as you go. And jumping back into this, maximize the time. So since we're in the Office 365 arena, and I know most of the folks that do a lot of the stuff with SharePoint, I know this was introduced like a few months ago. But some of the new actions that you can find within the SharePoint Flow connector is now that you have the ability to work with folders. You can actually create new folders. Before it was really difficult because in order for you to create a folder, you either had to use the SharePoint HTTP request, which is not too user friendly unless you're a dev, or you had to create you actually had to create a file in a folder for another the folder to create, and then you had to delete the file. So now you have that ability. If you work a lot with document libraries that require check in, check out, it actually gives you some actions there where you can actually check in a document, check out a document, and also you can discard some checkouts. Along with those lines, before working with permission, it was the same way. You had to use the HTTP request. They use the REST API, which is not business user friendly. So now it gives you the ability to grant or remove access to SharePoint items or documents or folders and within the SharePoint. And it actually also now works with some modern document sets. Before that was not available. So now, as you working with when a file is created in a folder, or when a file is created or modified in the folder triggers, those folders, as you go through the file picker, those folders are going to be available there for you. Some community updates. If you want to get started, if you want to see some of the flows that the community is building, the Power Automate team recently released the new flow cookbook. So it's a gallery of flows that are just built for the community, by the community, for the community. So if you wanna download them, import them into your tenant, and pretty much just like dissect them to see what's going on behind them, it could be something that you could implement as part of your business process, or something that can give you an idea to like for something to for you to implement down the road. Also, Audrey Gordon, she has this new iteration of adaptive cards action. So if you work with those adaptive cards a lot within the approvals or Microsoft Teams, it'll be something that you can actually look at. It's pretty cool. That would actually, in order for you to use that, you're gonna need to enable experimental features, which I'm gonna show shortly. And also, Audrey Gordon also has this whole playlist. So she did for the holidays like a whole 25 days of flows. So it's basically like an advent calendar that she did, and for every single day, she has like one single thing. So I believe she goes from, I think most of the content is mostly like basic, like entry level, and then there's another percentage of which is intermediate, and then the last percentage is as you go through them, you go to from beginner to intermediate to advanced. And also, if you want to play around with some of the experimental features, now Flow actually changed how you can select the dynamic content, the new expressions editor, which I have not gotten to work by myself, and also to access the new iteration of adaptive cards that I mentioned before. Let me show you really quick where those are. So in order for you to enable those, once you go into your once you're in Power Automate, you can click on the gear icon and you click on View All Power Automate Settings. You can click on that, and then it'll have you choose the display language, your regional format, and then you can turn this on or off. So there's, like I said, anything that's also experimental preview. Just take everything with a grain of salt and do not implement anything in production. And the last thing that I have for you folks, it's some of the resources. So here you have the documentation for the AI builder, also documentation for the UI flows, and also a couple of the videos that I mentioned before that John Levesque and a couple of the folks from the community put together. Same thing here, the other YouTube for the Power Virtual Agents was done by John Levesque, and I forgot the gentleman's name, and there's also the documentation here, and also the community updates that I showed before. There's a link to the Flow cookbook, the adaptive cards, and then at the bottom is the whole playlist of all the 25 videos that Audrey Gordon from the Power Automate team put together. Last thing, if you need to contact me, all my information is there. You have my email address, you have my Twitter handle, my LinkedIn profile. I'm actually open. I pretty much accept all connections. And there's my blog at the bottom. I normally have stuff about Flow in there. So if you want to check it out, it's good. If you have any requests for anything that you'd like to see, you can also reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to put something together for you folks. And with that, my presentation is done. So I hand it off over to Jonathan. So I don't know if you want to run up to the front, Jonathan, and unmute yourself.
Got it. Thank you very much, Fausto. That was awesome.
All right, no, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present. And apologies about that hiccup earlier. This is like some of the things that you run into when you're doing a live presentation or when you're doing a live demo. So
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Lots of great new information coming out of Microsoft and the Power Platform in general, specifically Power Automate.
Yep.
We can make it move too. It's a workflow. Sharon's not in the room. Don't tell her. Anyways, so yeah, thank you very much. We do have some prizes.